Purple?
Donatello. White and gold.
You mean blue and black?
How about blue and orange?
Okay, cool. So let's change the background. What I usually do is I go back to the parent CSS and try to find where the background is defined. So maybe do like Control F. Okay, there it is. Body, background. And then I'm going to go to my child theme and just copy and paste that. And background is blue, black dress. No. What did you say? Purple? No, didn't like that. Oh, that's because I didn't activate it.
Oh.
She doesn't like her background.
She can child theme.
Okay, any other modifications?
Hot pink text.
Hot pink text.
Oh. Pink.
So usually for that I'll do a Control F for color. Text area, no.
Your hex code is 76EBCB.
Does anyone understand what I'm doing here right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so in this case there's no color that's defined, right? So we can go back to here. I think it's dash pink, right? Is that? Oh no, you gave me the hex. What is it?
76EBCB.
EBCB.
EBCB. We're doing periwinkle. Thanks to your friend, Ben.
Go Ben.
Ben picked periwinkle.
So that didn't change the font
pink,
color for everything, right? If you go into the CSS, I think the post title probably has color defined. I mean, you saw when I did a Control F back here, there were a bunch of color fields that were defined, right? So the color for the text area is defined, the color for block quote is defined. And those CSS properties are going to override the one that we just defined, right? Yep.
Well, like in my thing, it's got all these multiple boxes and boxes within boxes defined in different colors. And if I wanted to, there's some functions I just wanted to get rid of because it was taking up room I didn't want. Where would I go to get rid of that box, for instance? It would be some function within several other boxes.
So you want to get rid of
It's sort of a layout for the background.
in the CSS in this file or somewhere else?
That's going to be incautious.
I don't know where it was right now. This is like 10 years ago when I did it.
And this is on the website. You mean like just like different sections of the
Yeah,
website?
it's got all that stuff in there. It's all defined by boxes and stuff. Like there's some I want to get rid of because it's just stuff I don't want. And I like what I did before was I just went through and I deleted it out.
Okay, so you're talking about things you want to get rid of as opposed to things you want to add on.
Right.
Okay, cool. So let's do that. So in order to get rid of stuff, you want to look at where it is on the site, right? So that's what I would do. So let's say
Let's get rid of the sidebar.
yes, thank you. So let's get rid of the sidebar. So how am I going to do that? Do we want to just completely get rid of the sidebar for the whole site?
Or you can do
Or
that
for-
right in the menu. You don't have to go to maybe you can do that.
What's that?
That's just in the regular WordPress menu. You get rid of the sidebar.
I think it depends on the theme that you have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for this theme we're stuck with the sidebar no matter
Let's just
what.
get rid of it. Keep it simple for
All right,
demo
let's just
purposes.
get rid of it. We hate sidebars. I hate sidebars.
They've definitely become untrue.
Yeah. So what I would do to get rid of the sidebar is, so there are a few ways you can go about this. This is actually a pretty good question. One way is to find where there's a function called getSidebar. Are you guys know what that is? All it does is it goes to your sidebar.php file and just plops it in there, and that's what get sidebar does. So one way to get rid of the sidebar is to find all the places where get sidebar is defined and just comment it out. And then, but that's a lot of work, right? Because then you have to go back to your parent theme, go file by file, find where get sidebar gets called, and then copy those files back into your child theme and comment them out. The other way to do that is just go to sidebar.php and then comment out all the code in there. Maybe. It depends on how it's arranged. If there's like a parent div called sidebar, then maybe just the content of the sidebar. If I comment out the code in sidebar.php, maybe the content of the sidebar is going to be removed, but the sidebar itself is still going to be there, right? So I think the easier approach that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sidebar.php, just comment out the code and see what happens.
You know, another thing you do is if it's, let's say it's your contact page, you don't want a sidebar on your contact page or something. You can find whatever that, and the template page is contact. Find that template.
Yep.
Copy that template into your child theme and just remove that line that says get sidebar. Because in some themes in the sidebar, you can get rid of that sidebar, but if the function theme is defined by default, then it'll come back to the default.
Yep.
So you actually have to go to your. So probably the template might be a good way to do that too. It's just to remove the sidebar component of that page template.
Yes. Thank you.
Or coming out of the CSS.
I'm sorry?
Stressing the CSS.
You could also do that. You could say like display none. That's actually might be the easiest way, right? Find the ID of the parent div and then just add it in CSS property saying just
But
don't show it.
that would do it everywhere. What she's saying is if you want it on a specific page.
Yes. And usually the case is you do want it on a specific page, right? Like you don't want to, like even though the sidebar is like really uncool, but you still like, you know, you still want it there in certain pages. But for the sake of simplicity, let's just get rid of it.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the sidebar. Yeah.
So that brings up a question, like when you're creating a child theme, would you bring in the different like sidebar.php and stuff like that, anything that you're actually editing into your child theme, that's going to be the primary one that gets pulled for your display, or?
Again, it depends on what you're trying to do, but I would say generally speaking, yes. If it's the more specific you can be, the better. I would say, right?
Just really get granular on those things. So like if you're editing only your contact page, if you pull in contact.php, that's going to, you should put that into
Yes.
your child theme.
Yep.
Along with functions in CSS.
Yeah, and there are other ways of going about it, but I would say the important thing is just to stay consistent. So if you're going to change things on your contact template, bring in the contact, copy that over. If you're going to change things on your single.php, copy that over, and that way you can stay consistent. There are like hacky ways of modifying the contact.php through some other means, like through your functions.php, but in order for you to stay sane, just keep it on a one-to-one sort of.
So that one-to-one sort of thing is what's going to be, like if you were to create like starting with Genesis and then going in and creating the specific pages that you need and the specific thematic approach to your design would be through that child and then pass on to people as a package, right? Essentially.
Yes. That all sounded good.
And is it 2 or 3 levels deep? But if you can only go 2 levels past the 3rd level, I don't think.
As far as child things, you can't, we just talked about this, you can't have a child with a child.
Oh, no, I mean your file structure. I think it is only 3 levels deep that you can go in. Or 2.
Cross structure.
In a file structure in a child theme. Within a child theme. I think it's 2. Like the only reason I bring that is some Genesis themes, some of their it's a little fun how their file structure gets kind of deep in their theme. So when you're copying it over, if you're in like the 3rd level of whatever that file's path is in the parent, I want to say it's 2. I have to look it up.
So it's like even when you look at like standard
So if you're at 3rd level on that file, I think it's that 3rd level
that just doesn't get, like when you're in here, there's like the right to left one and all that other stuff buried really deep in the
Genesis will do some of that. It'll have like 2-3 levels in their file structure. So that's one thing to watch with Genesis. I've had some issues with other things and I'm like, well, why is this not?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to keep going, just because we don't have a lot of time. We have like 5 minutes left. But anyway, the sidebar is still there. Sorry.
Well, the sidebar's gone, the logo, like your page title is there.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So I guess it's a case of semantics, right? Like Patrick said, the sidebar is gone, but for me, the sidebar is still there. For me, this is the sidebar. But the content of the sidebar is gone. So when you said you want to get rid of the sidebar, what did you mean? Get rid of this whole white space?
I was actually being facetious because I knew it would be difficult, but I did figure it out. It's in the CSS.
You did it through the CSS? Okay, cool.
And it's, the theme kind of has some lot of CSS. Like, for example, the body before needs to be set to width 100%.
Okay.
And site content needs to be set to 100%.
Cool. So I'm going to go real quick to my GitHub. I had a page.
You want me to upload it?
Yeah, go for it.
Do I have permission? Sorry.
I think it's public.
Send a request.
Where is it? WordPress 2050 job. So I actually created a template called page full width, and I just copied the page ph.php file, and all I did was, let's compare it.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah. Comments. So this is the page.php, and this is my page-fullwidth.php, and mine looks a lot more complicated. Right, so what I did, so this got a little more complicated because of the header.php and the white space that I was talking to you guys about. So I think that's the header. If you look at the code, does everyone know Chrome DevTools? About Chrome DevTools? This is a great tool, and you guys should use it. Page. Okay. Sidebar. I don't know. I did some wonky way, but anyway, so you can see that this. It's kind of hard to see. But the nice thing about Chrome DevTools is it highlights the element that I click on, right? So you can see that this element is called ID sidebar. And the other nice thing about Chrome DevTools is I can change the CSS right away. Nope, didn't do it. Do you want to show us what you did?
I got a permission denied that.
Do you want to just look up?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah? Do you mind?
No.
Okay, cool. My presentation.
Which way is it going?
Oh god, now no one can see again. What was the quick key to zoom?
Control and then 2 fingers like up and down.
You have to have it turned on.
Well, it's right here. So this is the style.css that he'd uploaded to the web. And then because it's a cascade, I can just recall body again after it's called. The first one is body, and then I just called it again after it. So it's the last one always wins. I said the width be 100%, so that gets rid of the sidebar thingy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one other, it was site-content right here. And the WordPress theme, you know, I told it to be 30% or something.
Cool. Awesome.
That
So,
was it.
so all you did is change the style.css. You don't have to copy over sidebar.php or anything, right?
Nope, you can just type it in and do exactly the call that you want. It did take some sleuthing, and I did use the
Chrome DevTools
well, I
inspector.
used the Safari one,
Yeah.
but the Chrome one's the same.
Awesome.
So if you ever need any help, like hunting down your issue, that's often the hard part.
And you did that in the child CSS sheet?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. And I can upload it to GitHub.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll grant permission.
Sweet.
Thank you.
No problem.
So Rafi, do you want to show us like what you can do with like one thing in functions.php?
Yeah. Cool. Did I do anything there? No.
Can you like hide the search bar or something? Or like the search field or something like that? Or filter the content?
Let's add a new sidebar.
A new sidebar?
After we just
I'm gonna do filtering just because that's one of the extra things that I wanted to talk about. So cool. So let's move on with the presentation. So how are people feeling right now? How is it going? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys like the pink background? And I just wanna emphasize too that a big part of child themes when you're customizing your own theme is going to your inspector and just seeing how the site is laid out, right? You want to expose yourself to the parent theme, go into the code, look at the style.css, expose yourself to it so you get an idea of how it's laid out and how it's structured. I'd say that's more than 50% of it. And you want to be comfortable with these sort of tools, with these with Chrome DevTools, and going in here and changing the CSS ad hoc and seeing how things look like, and going back and forth and just iterating over and over and over. Right, a big part of creating your own custom theme is just going and hacking into the parent theme. Okay, cool. So let's talk about filters. I think we're just going to talk about filters for now. I'm going to skip over action hooks just because for time. Can someone tell me what a filter is? Maybe Ben?
No idea.
Filter? WordPress filter?
Is it like a layer that might go over something?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, cool. How many of you guys have heard about action filter or action hooks and filters? Cool, but a lot of yours are still not very. Okay, so I'm gonna do like a little filter dance. So let's say I'm a post title. I'm a piece of data, right? And I exist in the database. And someone goes to my website and wants to check out my posts, right? And so one of the first things that the website is going to send back to the user is the post title, right? That's like one of the first things that you see. So like I'm going to jump from the database to the website, but wait a minute, there's a filter. I'm going to make a stop before I actually get to the end user, right? And so usually what happens is you go from the database to the client, and I'm getting displayed, I'm the post title, but with WordPress you have these things called filters. And so the piece of data makes a stop, and the developer or whoever wrote the code has access to me, to the piece of data, to the post title, and they can do whatever they want with that piece of data, right? So let's say I'm looking at a post called, I don't know, everything is awesome Lego time, right? That's the name of the post title. And I want to filter it. I want to add like a super cool Lego font, I don't know, like little animation, maybe an image, right? And so I'm going to append the post title with an image, And then that piece of data is going to keep traveling forward. It's going to come out of that filter. It's now filtered with an image, and it's going to be displayed to the user, right? So in between the database step, which is over here, which is the raw data, and being displayed, there was a filter, and now the post title is different. Something happened to it, right? And that's essentially what a WordPress filter is. And there are filters for like a million things in WordPress. And usually it's data related. Usually it's from the database to the client, to the browser. That's the sort of path that the data takes. Yeah?
Is this where you would be using like geolocation information and stuff like that to serve up localized content on global sites?
Like localization?
Yeah.
WordPress has a whole different thing for localizations. Okay. I'm not sure if they use filters. I don't think they use filters for that. I think it's a whole other system. Things you would use filters for, like I said, is post titles, the content, anything that the website is trying to grab from the database and pull out of it and display it, usually can be filtered. And so it's a really powerful, yeah.
Would you use a filter, say, I work on the back end of somebody else's site, and I see they have log entries, and they're just standard posts, and then news entries, and those are just standard posts, or is that just the categories?
How would you use the filter on that, though? What are you thinking?
I'm just wondering if that's how it's filtered, like, do I can click on new, never mind. Sorry.
It's okay. Does that make sense, what I said? Okay, cool. So one of the things that we'll do now, what I can do with the child theme is I can use a filter. So I'm going to go back here. And where do you think is the best place to put that? I have two options, functions.php and sidebar.php. Function. Bingo, yes! Yes! Okay, cool. So the way to do this is you type in, add filter, and the one that I want to use is called post title. The title? Okay. I'm gonna have to go to the codex because I haven't done this in a while. Yeah, I think it's post title filter.
Is there catalog filters on your channel?
There is, yes, and I actually have a link to that
In the slides.
Thank you.
I don't think we have a link to
That was it. It was post title.
It's post title?
Yeah.
That's what your slides say.
Oh no, add filter does that.
Post underscore.
Let's go. So here it is. And this is the API, and I think, is it the title? I think it's the title. Okay. I'm going to zoom in. Apply to the post title, retrieved from the database prior to printing on the screen. So you guys remember the filter dance I did? It's like, I'm in the database, but now I'm on the screen, but I was filtered. Sorry. Sorry.
That's better than censored.
So here's a great, so you guys should definitely go to the codex because the codex is awesome, and all I have to do is just copy and paste this. But I'm not going to do this verbatim, right? I'm going to go back here. Cool. So let's focus on this stuff.
Can you make it bigger?
Yep. Is that better? So I'm going to rename this to add gravatar because I want to add a gravatar before the post title. And I'm going to have to change it here as well because that's where it gets added to the filter queue.
You said gravatar and avatar?
Sorry. Thank you. And so let's just focus on this stuff right here. Cool. Can everyone see that okay? let's focus on add filter. So this is kind of where conceptually you should start thinking about, you know, how to add filters and how to use them. And so the first parameter is called the_title, and that came from the codex. And WordPress has that's the filter API, right? The WordPress has a list of filters that you can use. And so if you give it some junk thing, like instead of, I don't know, the title, you type in something else, then WordPress is not going to know what to do with that, unless there's a filter somewhere was defined by that name. But if it's not defined, then it's going to say, I couldn't find the filter, right? So the_title tells WordPress that, hey, I want you to give me the title data for every post. And I want you to hand that post title to my function called add_gravatar. So the second parameter of this function has to be a function that you define, right? And the 10 and the 2 you can kind of ignore for now, but the 10 is, I think, like priority, if you want to call it, and 2, actually no, the 2 is important because the 2 tells it how many parameters to send to your function, right? So if the 2 wasn't there, I think by default it would put in some like 1 maybe. But if it was 0 or something else, then it actually wouldn't pass in title or ID, which is really important. This thing doesn't fall down. Okay, cool. And so that gives us now the opportunity to do whatever we want with the title, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I think that should work. Maybe. And so do you guys understand what I just did?
Isn't it Gravatar again?
Is it Gravatar? Get Gravatar? I actually don't remember. Get Avatar. Okay. So I just filtered the title, right? Do you guys see what I did? Sorry, move it over. It's pretty simple conceptually. It's kind of hard to get it initially, but I defined a function. I told WordPress that I defined a function that I want that should filter the post title. And when I return the title, I'm appending it with an avatar. So now every title is going to have a little avatar next to it. Now the avatar that it's going to display, I think by default, is going to be the current user that's logged in. But you can pass in the author of the post, right? So you're given an ID parameter here, and so I can say, forget what it is, you know, get post ID, and then I can say something like get author, maybe like this. I don't know. This is not really WordPress code. And then I can do something like, you know, author ID, something like that. And that'll get me the avatar of the post author. But I'm not going to do that because of time. But I'm going to save that, and let's see how that looks like now. Cool. So in front of every post title, there's now a little avatar image. And so that's how you filter. That's how you can use filters. And then they're very, very, very powerful tools for WordPress, as well as action hooks. Action hooks, we can talk about in a different meetup. Yeah.
So why would you put the Gravatar into the
That's a good question. Because Filters, I don't have a super solid answer for you, but filters are more dynamic. If there is a good answer, I think, is in the child theme, you might have multiple templates that you'd have to go in and add get avatar in multiple places. Whereas here it's just a one whole encompassing way to say, hey, for every post title, just tag on an avatar. And it's like one, not even 3 lines. No, it's like 4 lines of code, but in fact, you take out all the white space, you bring it down like 2. Yeah.
I'm not asking you to show us how to do it, but would it be possible to have an avatar for, let's say you got different posts for different categories or topics, so it pulls the specific one or
Yes.
random or something?
Yep, and you would do
in that direction?
You would do that all in here, right? So I could say, I could do something like new title. If
it's about green chili, then it pulls this.
Right.
It pulls that, right?
You could say post, get post ID, and then you say if post title equals something like green chili. Yeah. Then you would say return get avatar, and I don't know what the parameters are for get avatar, but assuming you can pass it in like a slug name or something like that. Or you don't need anything else in there. You just say return new title. Right? So now I've added in logic saying if the post title is green chili, yeah, then it would return a different avatar.
What was the title?
Green chili, no. Is that good?
Cool.
And so that's the use case for filters. And I would really, really highly recommend to go to the Codex Holy Bible WordPress and read up on those. Cool. So let's finish up the slides. Where are they? So those are official definitions, and I'm not going to read them because it's like a million words. I guess, yeah, so filter sits between the database and the browser. Actions are triggered by specific events, so action hooks you can think of them as triggers. I'm not going to get into that because there's just not enough time. Cool, we did that. Bunch of resources here, so you have to do this. Like you need to just go through it. It's boring and it's dry and it's technical. But if you want to be better, if you want to be educated in child themes, theme development, I put child themes twice there, for a reason. Yeah, you have to go in there and read everything over and over and over. Cool. Thanks, everyone.